As You Like It, most people, I think that it's the greatest of Shakespeare's comedies. Maybe. Twelfth Night, too. But still, it's a wonderful play. The date, probably 1598, just as Shakespeare is entering his great period. With 1599, the next year, Julius Caesar, and the string of great tragedies. So it's the mature Shakespeare. Same year probably of Henry IV, Part 1, great history play, which I should have written down. Anyway, As You Like It. The two characters in the center are Rosaline, who is witty, wonderful, the great, really the greatest of the Shakespeare's comic heroines, and Orlando. Orlando is a wonderful young man too. This comedy too takes place especially in the woods, just like A Midsummer Night's Dream. And the woods represent a kind of Never Land. Arden Forest. Arden Forest is kind of magical. Now, a little complicated. Rosaline is the daughter of the Duke. But the Duke's younger brother, Duke Frederick, has taken over the power. And the Duke has gone to the forest to live. This is not fair, and Duke Frederick is kind of a bad guy. Rosaline is the daughter of the Duke. Duke Frederick has a daughter too, and she is, oh my God, what's her name? Celia. Celia loves her cousin, Rosaline. Very devoted. And so Rosaline lives with Duke Frederick, her uncle, and Celia, her cousin, but her position is a bad one. Duke Frederick doesn't trust her, of course, because she's the daughter of his brother, and he thinks enemy. Okay. Now, Orlando is the son of Sir Roland somebody, doesn't matter. And he was killed by Duke Frederick. Duke Frederick, kind of a bad guy. Now, the Duke lives out in Arden Forest with some other people, and they live close to nature. The main other character is Jaques, Jaqueus. He's a strange man. He's a gloomy man, kind of strange, funny. The other men laugh at him. He is strange, but he's interesting. Always gloomy. Okay. So, what happens? Orlando's older brother is very mean to him and treats him like a servant, treats him like a low person, and will not have him educated. Hates him. Hates his young brother Orlando. What's the older brother's name? I don't remember, but doesn't matter. Older brother. And so it's another case of older brother wronging, treating in a bad way, younger brother. Okay. At the beginning of the play, Orlando has decided he must do something. So he is going to wrestle the famous wrestler. If the famous wrestler breaks Orlando's neck, he doesn't care. He wants to die. If he gets lucky, maybe something good can happen. So he fights this famous wrestler, and he throws him, and he hurts him badly. That is, young Orlando must be very strong. Now, Rosaline sees this, and Rosaline falls in love with Orlando. After the fight, Duke Frederick is very angry. After the fight, Rosaline talks with Orlando, and he falls in love with her right away. But he he is going to have to run away. And he runs away to, of course, Arden Forest. He tells Rosalind that he's going to run there. Then he goes with his old man servant, who's a nice man too, another nice old servant. Okay, so that takes Orlando to the forest. Now, Rosalind tells Celia, I must go to the forest. I can't stay here. Your father, Duke Frederick, is a bad man. I'm sorry. I love you, Celia, but your father's a bad man. And Celia says, I agree. My father is a bad man. And wherever you go, Rosalind, I want to go too. So they will run away to the forest, where they will dress as shepherdesses and lead this bucolic, B-U-C-O-L-I-C, Arcadian existence, unrealistic, in the forest. Of course, the forest is a rough place to live, but in romance, forest is magic, just like in Midsummer Night's Dream. So, they run off to the forest too. Orlando arrives, and he meets Duke Frederick, and he meets Jaques, and he is like Romeo. He's writing poems, and he's writing little notes on the trees. Oh, Rosaline, I love you. Rosaline, be my love. Rosaline is a flower that bursts in the spring, blah, 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 some poetry. Jaques goes around the forest, and he finds all this stuff. And Jaques thinks that love is foolish. One other major character. Oh boy, Touchstone. Touchstone is a favorite character of mine. Touchstone is a clown. Touchstone is the clown of Celia and Duke Frederick. Touchstone loves Celia and loves Rosaline too. So Touchstone goes to the forest too. But a Touchstone in the forest, wow, he's a very cynical man. Witty, so witty. The play is famous for wit. And the wittiest of all may be Rosaline. Because Rosaline can crush Touchstone. No one can crush Touchstone for wit, but Rosaline can. So wit is a very high value in this play. Touchstone goes to the forest too. Touchstone meets Audrey. Audrey is a shepherdess. Now, Phoebe is out there, and who is the guy? The shepherd, I forget his name. I can't remember. Doesn't matter though. Shepherd loves Audrey. No, Shepherd loves Phoebe. Audrey is beautiful. Many shepherds have tried to love Audrey, but no. Audrey sees Touchstone. Audrey falls in love with Touchstone. Now, Touchstone is kind of a cynical guy. And Touchstone, so witty, says, maybe I will marry her and then leave her. I'm not going to stay in this forest. I'm a man of wit. I'm a man who should be in the court, where wit is the highest value. Cynical guy. Okay, there's another priest. I don't remember his name, but it doesn't matter. He will marry these people. We need a priest to marry these people out there in the forest. Now, what happens in the play is that Rosaline's in disguise now. This is important. And Orlando does not recognize her. So Rosaline says, as a shepherd, male shepherd, Rosaline says to Orlando, you're a very foolish boy. Who is this Rosaline you love? You don't love her. I'll tell you what. You practice saying you love me and write poems to me, and I will cure you of this crazy love. Well, it's wonderful because Orlando has to pretend to love Rosaline. He doesn't know she's Rosaline. He thinks she is a man. It's wonderful, and Rosaline is so witty, And Orlando's a little bit foolish, but he doesn't care because really he is in love with this shepherd. And he doesn't quite understand it. It's more craziness of love, which is a fundamental fact of Shakespeare's comedies. Love is a little bit crazy, and people say and do things they don't know why they say and do them. They don't know. Love changes too in comedies. Okay, so Celia, meanwhile, falls in love with whom? She's starting... No, she doesn't fall in love with anybody. Doesn't matter. She's witty too. Now, gradually Rosaline and Orlando will get together. At the end, Duke Frederick brings an army to capture and kill the Duke, his brother, and his followers. Kind of like Robin Hood. They're a little like Robin Hood out there in the forest. But on the way, he meets a monk, M-O-N-K, hermit, and he's converted. He becomes suddenly a religious man, doesn't want power, is sorry that he wronged his brother, changes his life completely, will live in a cave and pray for the rest of his life. Magic. This bad man enters the forest and is transformed, changed completely by the forest, apparently. Meanwhile, Orlando's older brother also comes to the forest. Ah, yes. He comes to the forest too. And he's changed too. In fact, he falls in love with Celia. And Celia a little bit with him. But he's going to have to win her love and show that he's changed. But in the end, he apologizes to his brother. Brother forgives completely. They are changed. Everybody's changed. Maybe. At the end we have weddings, because at the end of Shakespeare comedies we have weddings. Rosaline and Orlando get married. Touchstone and Audrey get married. Very funny. Older brother and Celia get married. The Duke receives his dukedom, his power again. They will all leave Arden Forest, the land of magic, because they must return to the real world, to real responsibilities, to reality. And the forest is not reality. It's a dreamland. But it's a wonderful dreamland. And people have changed and been changed by it. Good things have happened. In the end, Jaques is the big question mark. What will happen to him? He could become a religious man too. This religion theme, a little bit serious in Shakespeare, a little bit serious, but it's also a way to solve some dramatic problems. It's called Deus Ex Machina. Deus, D-E-U-S, Ex, E-X, Machina, M-A-C-H-I-N-A. God out of the machinery. The idea here is that the dramatist often needs to make things happen quickly. The play is limited in time. So a God out of the machinery is it's like using religion to make quick changes in people. Certainly the case here. Shakespeare uses religion to make Duke Frederick change, to make the older brother change a little bit. And maybe Jaques will change too. Jaques is a man who wants to find truth. And he's an earnest truth seeker, serious, wants to, but he's a little foolish too. The most famous speech in the play is his, about the 7 ages of man. Childhood, schoolboy, young man, lover, blah, 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 blah. That's Jaques' speech. He makes big speeches, but he's kind of foolish too. Anyway, wonderful play, as you like it. Thank you.